I'll make this video to build on one I made before, where I criticized the proposal of a local church to post no carry signs redundantly and unwisely. All right, here's the thing. We're talking about an active shooter situation. We have to understand that there are basically three types of active shooters and how they act. Okay, you have the first one is somebody who, through a brief mental condition or as a reaction, without enhanced weaponry, without pre-planning, without any kind of coordination, shoots a place up. That's one. Okay. The one you're worried about is two. I'll tell you what two is. Two is a person who does use enhanced weaponry, is engaged in pre-planning, and if it's two, there is a limited amount of coordination. The Columbine shooters would be that case right there. They have limited planning and limited coordination. The Aurora shooter would be another one. He planned it and he carried out a plan. The third level is one with extensive pre-planning, greater enhanced weaponry, including explosives, and coordination with others, extensive practice coordination with others. That would typically be somebody who would be a terrorist, a member of a terrorist cell. We're worried about number two. Now, number two is basically, and I'm going to put it in the confines of a church. Number two is either somebody who has been coming to your church, or somebody who visits your church several times to observe everybody there. Okay, as he plans, he does a little reconnaissance. Okay, so this person comes in, and because you have people posted in positions, obviously posted in positions, he knows who these people are. He can identify them. So when he comes in, he takes them out first. Now, if he would know that your church is expressly and explicitly not allowing concealed carry, he feels all the safer. He knows who his targets are, initial targets are. Okay, he can take them out quickly because you have them on post. You got them standing up there with a target pasted in the middle of their chest. Okay, you got to stop thinking like a cop and stop thinking like one of these deranged people do. Somebody who actually plans. You know, you got this idea in your head, this guy is crazy, and he's like, it doesn't mean he's stupid. Doesn't mean he's not capable of pre-planning. And typically he's in there and he's planned on that he's going to die. So when he hits real resistance that he can't take out, he starts dealing with unknowns, things he didn't calculate on. He might cap himself. Probably not going to surrender. Probably going to commit suicide. So you have to really understand that what the active shooter is. You know, it's not a person where if you deal with a police officer, he's used to dealing with people who are criminal-minded. He's not a criminally-minded person. Okay? He's a person with a mental condition. So this is why it's important to have, whether you have one or more, to have them blended into the tapestry of the church, where they're not standing out. Okay, and and there's sufficient of them that there's a likelihood that one of them is going to be in a position to take a shot. Now it's going back on to what they're going to tell you here. Let's see what church is going to tell you here. They're going to cite back to when Jesus talks about the swords, Luke 22, I think it is. I need to look that up again. I think it's Luke 22. Um, and they come up and they say, we have two. Well, and Jesus says, that is enough. So we're going to say that two for the entire church is enough. No, it's not a number. Okay, let's expound on this. Is two enough? No. Let's understand that if I had 12 disciples and I had 2 swords, that's 16%. So by that ratio, if I have 100 people in the church, 16 of those 100 people would be armed. You're not even, if you drop it and say that and say anybody can carry a firearm here that wants to, you're not going to get 16 per 100. You'll be lucky to get 2 per 100. Okay? So, the 2 is enough. We only need 2. You're silly. You can't cover that kind of area with 2. Okay? Especially when those 2 are standing in plain view, obviously posted to security post, you know. Or put on doors, evacuation doors, which people have never used and don't understand how people in a panic work. People in a panic do what they've always done. So if they always come into a room and exit a room in the same way, when they go into a panic, they're going to try to flee in that direction. They're not going to be running to your security doors. They don't even know they're there because their brain is like click, you know. So there it is. You gotta understand what an active shooter is. I've studied this for years. You know, all the FBI stuff and, you know, Homeland Security stuff and responses, you know. And here's the thing, in a church you can't do the response of hide, shelter yourself. You can't do that. You can do that in a school, you can do that in a lot of other situations. But you can't do that in church. You're in a sanctuary. You're in there in a crowd with everybody else, you know. So you can't do that. You can't really run because of the confusion and the chaos, so you can't really escape. So what do you have left? To respond, to counterattack. That's your only choice left. Of all the options of shelter, you know, lockdown, it's called advise, lockdown, and then you get into response, okay? I forget what all the Alice words are. You understand in your situation in the church, in the sanctuary, you're cut off from this one, you're cut off from this one, you're cut off from this one. Okay. Now let's do another thing. Let's take it one more step. I have a church going on. I have the main sanctuary, which I am covering, kinda. But what about the youth things that are going on right now, or the possible nursery things that are going right now? Is there anything keeping that person from walking into that youth thing, which is separate from the sanctuary, or walking into that nursery area, which is separate from the sanctuary, and doing what they're going to do? Now you're going to say, well, you're not going to have a guy walking right up with an AR-15 or a semi-automatic rifle through the front door. Well, you could. Okay, you might. But the thing of it is, you look at what the Aurora shooter did, the Aurora theater shooter did. He put his stuff outside a fire door. And then, once the movie started, he went to that fire door, opened up, retrieved his weapon, came in, and did the deed he did. So, are your weak points like that covered from the inside? Do you have fire doors, access points that are not visible to anybody? And if you make them, if you do cover them, are you not making it like a military camp, like a prison? I think it's best just to let enough people in the crowd and let the shooter. Here's the thing: deterrence. Those two guys at the doors, they're not a great deterrence, okay? But if I know people are carrying in that crowd and I don't know who those people are, that's a deterrence. An unknown is the greatest deterrence there is. So That's my thoughts on that. You know, people may disagree, people may get angry, but I don't care. I don't care. So, that's what it is. You need to learn what you're talking about, okay? And learn what the mentally disturbed people can do. You understand the guys that are going to do number 3, okay, the highly organized one, they're not mentally disturbed, okay? Number 2 is mentally disturbed. Number 1 is briefly mentally disturbed. Number 2 is long-term mentally disturbed, okay? All right, there you go.